Hello everybody, today is March 28th, 2023, and this is my experiment investing $1 a day in 10 different cryptocurrencies and $1 a day in 55 different dividend stocks. You can see right here it started up and then it went down, and then you can see it went up again and went down again. We can look at the 1 week period and we can see right here it kind of started high, but it's been constantly trending downward. We can look at the month period, and in the month period we can also see that it's been kind of trending constantly downward as well. We look at the 3-month period and we can see January 6th, 2023 is the first time investing in my life. February 20th, 2023 is when it started to decline and go way down. We can see March 11th, 2023 is when the Fed decided to bail out Silicon Valley Bank. Then Credit Suisse decided to go under. And then a bunch of other banks went down and up. And then March 21st, as you can see, the Fed announced a 0.25% increase and it went down. And now we're kind of at this lower level. If you enjoyed this content, please feel free to leave me a comment, smash the like button, don't forget to subscribe. I'll be posting a minimum every Monday and every Friday, and sometimes throughout the week. Now, one thing that we want to go over today is dedication and hard work. When you look at this, you can see that it constantly is going downward. It takes a lot of emotional ability to be able to think, okay, I really need to stick with it. I need to stick with my plan and stick through it. And some people will ask me, well, why only $1 a day? Well, $1 a day, I believe anybody and everybody can do it. If you can save at least $1 a day in at least one thing, whether it's stocks or it's Bitcoin, whether you're putting money in the bank, it can change your life. Everybody can do that. Me, I'm just scaling that ability to scale from $1 to a higher amount, such as I'm scaling $1 to $1 a day in 10 different cryptocurrencies, $1 in each, and then I'm also scaling $1 a day in 55 different dividend stocks. Now, the amount may seem small in the beginning, but as it grows potentially, it is actually a lot of money that I'm putting in, and I'm diversifying myself, so I'm buying as it goes down. Now, I also went over here and I reorganized my stocks. So these ones are all the finance ones. And if you look at this number, it's down, right? Because I changed my view to actually go instead of last price to see what the actual price is. Come over here and change it again. So the last price this is the price of the stocks of where they're at. And you can see that they're red or they're going down in that particular sense. But some of them are actually green. Well, actually a lot of them are green because they're up for where they were for today. So dividend stocks are more of a stable stock, in the sense that they don't fluctuate as much as normal stocks. So I'm not trying to be a day trader. I am trying to be an investor. So I'm investing for the long term. I'm investing for the long haul. And the main reason why this is important is if you're a day trader is someone that buys and sells in less than a year. Where an investor is someone that buys and holds for at least a year, and then if they decide to sell their stocks in a year, they're taxed differently and taxed in a different bracket. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to be an investor, not just an investor, but hold for the long term. Because what a lot of people forget to do, or they don't actually think of, is taxes. When you retire, right? And when you retire, say you're 65, 67, or whatever you decide to retire, your Social Security counts as your income. But the nice thing here is for dividends, if you're getting paid dividends, the tax laws are currently written in your favor for dividends. You can earn up to $80,000 in dividends and not have to pay the tax. You still have to claim that as income, so the dividends are still income, but you can get up to $80,000 as income if you have no other income, not including Social Security or anything, and you're not taxed for it. So it's a very big difference, because when you look at your paycheck, right, you look at your paycheck from when you're getting from your work, if you're working a job, maybe you're an entrepreneur, or maybe you're something different, your paycheck is taxed heavily. So if you're getting paid $60,000 or $40,000, you still are taxed in a tax bracket. Maybe they're taking 10%, 12%, whatever they're taking from you. But dividend payments that you're getting, once you do decide to retire, you can get up to $80,000 and you're not taxed on it. And so I'm thinking of my retirement already here. I'm already close to my 40s. I'm thinking, okay, so what is the strategy that I want to play for myself? Well, my play for myself right now is when I first started this, right? I saw all these pennies coming in and I was like, oh, I was pretty excited. Some people will look at it and be like, oh, only pennies? Why am I even doing this? And that thought did definitely cross my mind as well. But then all of a sudden, when it came to the month of March, things started to pick up and I started to get paid more dividends. And I saw UAN, and then I have a video on that as well where I looked in, I was like, oh, $3.21, maybe I should dump all my money in there. And obviously that's not going to be an idea because they're not going to pay out another big dividend payment until maybe November. Maybe here we can look at the NASDAQ on that. So we come over here and we look at the UAN NASDAQ dividend payment. This one right here, UAN dividend history NASDAQ. So if we come over here, we scroll down here and we look at this right here, we can see that the next big payment was September, January, August. So August was the last year is when the next was a big payment, is what I'm saying. All these other ones are all small payments, and the next big payment was obviously on March 3rd, 2023. So if you're going to go ahead and do an investment in that, where my investment strategy is just $1 a day in all these different stocks, I'm not going to see another big payment until much later. And then there's the risks involved as well. So all these different things play into effect on whether or not you should or should not. Stick with your own plan. Stick with your own financial plan with what works for you and move forward that way. For me, this is working for me because my long-term goal is I'm going to keep going. It doesn't matter that, banks are crashing. It doesn't matter that those other things are crashing. As long as I'm being paid dividends right now, and my goal is to get paid $1 a dividend per every single day out of the month. I'm not there yet. I think the last time in one of my other videos I pointed out that it goes all the way to where I went to the 29th and there's just only 2 days. Just the amount. It doesn't pay me every single day. They only pay you on trading days, so Monday through Friday. They don't pay you Saturday, Sunday. But the amount that the dividends is getting paid is up to, for the month of March, because I counted them, up to 29, because we had 29 dividend payments that are promised and or that have already been paid, because they still have a few more. So my goal is to get at least $1 every single day out of the month, right? That's the first goal. Then after that, I want to get paid $2 every single day out of the month. Then $3, and then it just slowly increment. And so it's just more of a long-term goal. And then I also mentioned as well before how I'm treating this as a subscription in a sense of, if you're paying for Netflix, right? Or you're paying for Amazon, or you're paying for whatever it is, your magazines, your newspapers, whatever it is, right? I'm treating it as a subscription. Now, normally my main goal was when I first started this was I was just going to set all these different subscriptions in a sense of, okay, I'm just going to set it. And I wasn't going to look at it. And it was working for me in the beginning because I wasn't really looking at it every single day. But because I'm recording these YouTube videos to look at it, I now have to have a different mindset. I have to double down on my own wits, be like, okay, if it's going down, that's not going to matter. My long-term strategy is to keep putting money in. And it is a good large chunk of money as it's going in. And I had to go ahead and I had to talk to my family about it first. So I had to talk to my spouse and be like, hey, is this okay that I do $1 a day in these stocks for our finances? And one of the things that was brought up is like, I don't want you to do this because whatever money you put in, it's going to be gone forever. And so I had to go ahead and I had to sell my idea of this is going to the arcade. If I go to the arcade, right, and I stick my money in, the money's gone. And now I'm playing with it. But the thing is that when you go to the arcade, the game only stops for the stock market when I decide to stop playing. And then I had to take the idea here where if I'm playing the stock market, right, and you're playing for the little tickets that you get so you can turn into the counter, a lot of people will go and they'll take their tickets, right, and they'll get the little prize, the little flashlight or the toy or whatever it is. And then some people collect tons and tons and tons of tickets and they go ahead and they cash it in and they get their stuffed animal or they get the PlayStation or Xbox or whatever it is, right, and you cash out. And then you walk away and you never play the arcade again and you're done. Well, the sense that I'm doing here is I'm going to the arcade, collecting a lot of them, buying my prize, and then selling off my prize and then reinvesting it back into the arcade to play some more. That's where the dividend part comes into play for myself. The dividend part comes into play where if I come back here and I come over here to my history, this is the different mindset. Is you're going to the arcade, winning your tickets and turning them in, and you're sticking with it and you're constantly going. Now, yes, when you play in the arcade, you stick your money in. Your chances of never seeing that money again are basically 100%. You stuck your money into the machine. It's gone. And so now you're just playing for tickets, and the tickets are won by different prizes by different companies. Every single one of these is a company, and they're all working in a sense to make more money. And so where the next level of this particular game comes into play is understanding what each one of these companies are doing and where their future is and where they hold. Every single one will be different and act completely differently. So when you think about it, right, and I know a lot of people can relate to Coca-Cola, so let's go ahead and relate to Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has been around for a decent amount of time, right, KO? And Coca-Cola has been steadily, if you look at the 5-year plan, you can see it's constantly going in an uptrend in that particular sense, even for 5 years. So even if there was downturns and it went down, it has been in a constant going up. And Coca-Cola is kind of a brand name that's near everywhere, right? They're all over the world. They're in all different fast foods. They're in all different gas stations. When you go someplace, who doesn't know the name of Coca-Cola, right? So it's when you invest in a company, really think about, are they still going to be here in the long term? Are they global? Are they just in your network? Do they only exist there? Or do they have the chance to grow? Do they have a good business plan for what may be coming this year? And really, what may be coming this year, I really do believe, and I'm not trying to fearmonger, I'm not trying to make anybody scared or anything, but when you look at banks are crashing, inflation is still high at 6%. I went to the market the other day and I tried to buy food, my normal grocery bill, right? And I'm looking at all these food costs and I'm like, wow, what used to just be $1.50 is now $5, or what used to just be $3 is now $9 or $10. I'm like, wow, the prices are expensive. What my normal food bill when I go grocery shopping would normally just be $100 for the whole, 2-3 weeks that I would go. It was $300 the last time I went just this weekend. And I'm like, wow, if it's already times 3 of my normal, what I normally buy, my normal day to day of what I would eat, and it's already times 3, imagine what is happening to people that don't have any money at all or are working paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. And if you're working in that sense, and you're working and you're living paycheck to paycheck to paycheck, and maybe you have 2 jobs, maybe you have 3 jobs, and I get it, okay? I was in that situation. When I was in Hawaii, I was working as an electrician. I was working 80-hour weeks in Hawaii. Can you imagine working 80-hour weeks every single day? And I'm not talking about the small kind, just doing regular labor. I was doing hard labor as an electrician, doing chipping concrete with a jackhammer. I was pulling wire. I was digging with a shovel, digging dirt. I was laying lines. I was on ladders. I was all day extreme physical, carrying 200-pound bags of concrete, mixing the concrete, pouring the concrete, because I was working as in a commercial. I was working as a commercial electrician, okay? And I was I was contracted out with our company to the Polynesia Culture Center. Now, if you don't know the Polynesia Culture Center, it's on Oahu. It's on the North Shore. And think of it as a miniature Hawaiian Disneyland, okay? And when you think of that as an electrician, everything is underground. So everything was with concrete. And so I had to work at every single line that you had to put as electrical had to be underground, in concrete, 6 feet underground. Okay? And not just 6 feet underground. When you're digging through clay, because that's Hawaii. Hawaii has this red clay, which is really, really massively hard to dig through. So you have to use a chipping hammer, and a jackhammer as well. And then all of a sudden, once you get down far enough, there's actually salt water there, because you have to realize we're on an island. So you're dealing with salt water with electrical lines, and you're digging really, really deep, and it's got to be line everything in. So you have to realize, okay, 80-hour work weeks. On top of that, I had to work even extra to just live. So if you're saying I don't know what I'm talking about, I know what I'm talking about. I did it for many years. Okay, I was 8 years as an electrician, and I worked and I worked and I worked and I worked. And it was hard, very, very, very hard labor. We're not talking about easy. We're talking about hard electrical digging, laying lines, and staying cognizant and staying actually awake while you're doing it. And you're just extremely exhausted every day and your body just is in pain. So I get it. So if you're in that situation and you're working and you still can't make ends meet, start thinking of, how can I do things outside the box? How can I change my life? What can I do? What can I cut back? Maybe it's cutting back on your food bill, right? And I did that too. My lunch meals was $4 to $5 a day. I would go to Taco Bell, and at Taco Bell I would eat $1 tacos and $1 bean burritos, and that was it. No soda, no nothing. That's how I lived and how I ate, because that's what I could afford, right? And then I also know I talked in another story too, how I bought a lemon car, and we're talking about Hawaii here, right? Surrounded by salt water 24/7. A car you buy, like if you buy on the mainland of the United States compared to Hawaii, you buy a car, it's already starting to rust. Even if it's stainless steel, like we used to install stainless steel in the Polynesia Culture Center, and even that rusts in Hawaii, right? It's pretty nuts on the things that they just don't last the same. Anyways, that lemon car broke down, and I had to walk to work 5 miles from one side all the way down to the Polynesia Culture Center, and then I had to carry all my tools and walk home and carry it all back because I didn't have money to catch the bus. I didn't have money to do all those things. And so I'm just, I understand the situation, but start cutting back on things that you can afford to cut back on. And that will potentially change your life. If you enjoy this content and you stayed this long, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate you listening to my story. Go ahead and please feel free to leave me a comment. What's your situation? Try to see other people, talk to other people, get motivated in some particular fashion, saving just at least $1 a day. Feel free to subscribe if you are interested into listening to this at least every Monday, every Friday, maybe sometimes throughout the week. Thank you again for being here, and you all have a wonderful rest of your day.